Welcome back to another episode of Unfiltered. Today, in case you have not been watching our last couple episodes, they're definitely on the sadder end, but I think it's important to discuss the reality of life while we're still doing stuff that is, we're still doing like the upbeat and peppy stuff. But, this stuff that we're talking about lately is just the kind of the reality of it. Today, we're going to be talking about something that hopefully a lot of you have heard. A lot of our viewership is from Illinois, which is typically a blue state, but we encourage you to repost this to your stories and feeds because the word should get out. It's 2020. We got to vote this year, guys. I'm going to drop a stat before we start talking, but in 2016, right, that was the election where you had Donald Trump. He was esteemed businessman, celebrity, going against Hillary Clinton. I feel like a lot of people wrote off Hillary because, one, being a woman, two, being, just the wife of a president. I think people really undermined her, and then we all were like, oh, well, Donald Trump can't win. He's just a celebrity.
Yeah.
And then it happened, and we lived through it. 43% of Americans, eligible voters in 2016, did not vote. So
40%.
And they even wrote like random things
Yeah.
in like the
Harambe, I remember
Yeah,
this.
Harambe, yeah, they literally
I
put
was
that
in
in there.
college
Yeah.
and like 16,000 people voted
Yeah.
for Harambe.
I remember
We-
they didn't take it seriously. Mickey Mouse, Harambe was things like that.
yeah, we
It still
took
makes
it as
me
a
angry.
joke.
Yeah.
We took it as a joke, and now we're in 2020, and we all look really dumb for it.
Totally.
And I think the best example of how dumb we look was the presidential debate this week.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're watching this, I think this episode's going to get posted somewhere in late October. So there's probably going to be one or two more debates, but specifically we're talking about the very first one. And it is easy to say that America looked like a joke. Like, we literally looked like a joke.
They were
I saw
fighting like
something
children.
online.
Yeah.
Literally fighting like
I saw something online, and it said, it was from a Canadian. He was like, being in Canada right now is like being the
Oh.
next door neighbor to someone who's got their car alarm constantly going off. And someone in America responded, he was like, yo, imagine being stuck in that car.
Yeah.
And that's the reality of it. Like, we're stuck in a joke. I'm going to let you guys talk about the debate before I say my 2 cents on anything. But popular topics in the debate were obviously the economy, the Supreme Court, Trump's tax records, and there was the infamous white supremacist moment. A lot to discuss. There's a lot that happened in 4 years as well. So I'm going to let you guys take the discussion where it's got to go.
I'll go. So in my case, I was not in the mental headspace to watch the debate. So instead, the following
Smart.
day, I watched the highlights. No, and like I asked my
Those
mom.
were lowlights.
Yeah,
Those were lowlights.
I asked my mom if she was going to watch it, and she said she didn't have like the mental capacity to do it, and none of my like close friends did either.
Yeah.
And just like given the state of things and everything that happened over this chaotic summer, like I'm not really surprised. But one thing that did bother me the most is when Trump started attacking Biden's sons.
Yes.
That
Like
was
we can
Hunter and Beau.
say everything that we want to about Biden. Like I don't think that he's perfect, but at the end of the day, it's like attacking him for his children, one of whom passed away.
Yeah.
I thought was extremely low, and I found myself getting angry. Like I didn't even care that much about Biden, but then I watched an older debate with Biden and Sarah Palin where he was talking about his children, and he talked about the one that passed away in the 70s, and then he
Yeah.
talked about Beau, who passed away in 2015. Or well, no, that was 2008. But Beau was at that point he was already sick, and he was almost brought to tears. And the
Yep.
fact that Trump thought it was appropriate to bring
just
up
attack him for
Personally,
that.
like, not
like
even
personally
personal.
attack
Professionally, it's
his
personal.
children was something that really like upset me. And then Trump also took a stab at Hunter Biden's drug addiction,
Yeah.
Yeah.
as though addiction is not something that millions of Americans have a problem with.
But
And
it's taken
Biden
as like a joke.
was honest about it. He was like, he didn't even try to skirt around the issue. He was like,
No.
yes, my son was addicted to drugs, as many Americans are, and he actually like leveled with us and like in a way that made him seem like more relatable than he's been in the past like 12 years.
Yeah.
So that was for me, of course, aside from the Proud Boys thing, that was the
Takeaway?
my biggest takeaway is that Trump went after Biden's kids.
Yeah.
And I just found it really inappropriate, especially because, like, I don't know if it's, like, the superstitious black girl in me, but I don't like disparaging the dead. So when
Yeah.
he went after Beau, I thought that was just incredibly inappropriate.
Yeah. I think you saw right away that it brought him to tears, right?
Yeah,
outside of
his
like the
eyes
outside of
and
the
stuff.
moral compass of that. First off, Trump made the
That's when he
accusation.
got angry, too.
Yeah, Trump made the accusation that Hunter Biden was dishonorably discharged from the military. That wasn't true. He was just discharged from the military. But I think the big thing is it shows character for the candidate you're voting in.
Mm-hmm.
prepping for this, I was reading a lot of just stuff, just going through pros and cons, right? Because I think, like, I know who I'm going to vote for, right? But I think even to have this discussion, you got to have a good full picture of everything.
Yeah.
And it is so baffling to me that you see people that write these articles, and some of them are so, like, cultish.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Um,
especially Trump supporters.
and it's just so weird to me that you, like, for people that feel like they support Trump, I'm not even saying that, like, some of his policies aren't, you know, some of them I can understand how they, you know, stimulate the economy and make a difference. But at this point, you know, even especially because I've heard a lot of people say, like, my vote's just one vote, doesn't matter. Dude, your vote is shaping
matters
so
so
many
much.
things.
Yeah.
And the
Like-
past election, I feel like, really brings light to that.
Well, for
Exactly.
example, right,
Emphasizes
in
on
these
it.
last 4 years, he's been able to put in 2 Supreme Court justices. And I'm sitting on this podcast with 3 girls, right? And you guys just saw, like, RBG just passed away and he wants to put another conservative judge on there.
know.
The
Broke my
impact
heart.
it has on the 3 of you, like, I can't even say a word. The impact it has on the 3 of you is going to be profound.
Yeah.
And if you get 4 more years of that, the likelihood is you'll probably get at least 1, maybe 2 more conservative judges,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. The thing about it is, if a conservative judge is put in RBG's place, is that they're going to try to find a way to put Roe v. Wade back on the chopping block. And I have a reproductive disease, which means that I definitely need access to, like, the health care benefits that come from Roe v. Wade. And, you know, so, yeah, it makes me really, really nervous because, like, I want access to my health care and I want to, like, not be in crippling pain. But every time people think Roe v. Wade, they think abortions, and it's just like it's
Right.
so much
More
more
than
than
that,
that.
yeah.
You know, it's like counseling for victims of sexual assault. It's cancer screenings. It's annual exams for what is it called? Low income and homeless women. It's so much more than just abortions, and so it's kind of just. I don't think people realize that. They're kind of just like jumping on that bandwagon.
And that's the thing. People don't understand. Like, they see, like, the top version, or, like, whatever people have been, like
the
emphasizing.
umbrella of it.
Yeah, so they'll be like, oh, abortion. But then there's so much more that comes with it. And that's, again, the problem, that people aren't educating themselves enough. And again, you know, we can say that, okay, both candidates aren't the best choice. Like, I'm sure that there could be someone better out there, right?
Nope.
But at this point, it's like dumb, like the
Dumb and Dumber.
dumb and dumber.
Dumber.
Bro.
So obviously we're
You know what
going,
I've
you
heard,
know.
though? Like, a lot of people are like, they're both so terrible, I don't want to vote for either of them, so
Yeah.
I'm just not going to vote. But
No, there's a
I know
big difference.
One-
it's a big
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
But I know we're literally picking the lesser of 2 evils. I know that sounds terrible, but that's the reality of it. And, you know, that's all we can do at this point. We can't just act like our vote isn't going to have an impact.
Dude, but I think in any election, you're always voting for the lesser of 2 evils because there's no way
No one's
you're ever going
perfect.
to.
Yeah.
The
Exactly.
two-party system
No one is perfect,
The
but, like,
two-party system is
fatal-
flawed.
It is flawed as hell.
Right.
And
And we
so
could have a whole
just-
podcast just for that.
Yeah,
But
we
the-
actually could. Maybe we will. Who knows?
the idea on the back
Terrible.
end of that though is like you got 2 people that are politicians, right? Politicians are notorious for lying, for making promises that they can't keep. But dude, at the end of the day, you've had 4 years of Trump's America, and you
Look
don't
at
want to
where it
vote.
got
Do you
us.
really want to
First,
live
look
another
at where it
4?
got
It
us.
was
That's
just
the thing, though.
4
I will-
years. I feel like I've lived my entire life
I don't know.
with
I
him
feel like my
in
life
power.
has changed so much in that 4 years.
Can we
you know?
just think about, obviously that's a
But
whole different
think
thing,
about
but
the conditions of
think
the
about
U.S.
the 4 years
how everything
that
has changed.
So we were freshmen.
We were freshman college.
We were in
I
freshman
was a
college.
senior in
high
high school.
school.
I
In
high
remember
school.
this, yeah.
Amina, you were a little older.
I was a little older.
But 4 years went
4
by.
years, so much.
Yeah, but I was 20,
Mhm.
and I was already going through a lot. But right before the election, the Cubs won the World Series.
Yeah.
And that was one of the best days of my life.
And then we went straight to hell.
And then
Yeah.
and then just shit went downhill, and then I ended
Yeah.
up dropping out of school that year,
Wow.
like that December.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the 2016 election, like it definitely contributed. Like it's not the main reason, but like it hit me really hard that year.
And you know,
don't want
it
that to
progressively
happen
gets
again.
worse, and these are the
Yeah.
times we're gonna have to raise our children in, and that scares me a lot.
Yeah.
Dude, and I think the other thing is, right, like you sat through 2016, and we've
Mm-hmm.
always, I feel like a lot of people, well, first off, like, he didn't win the popular vote. So that tells me the majority of America, or the majority of American voters, don't seem as fit to be there, right?
Yeah.
The problem is that even though we don't feel that he's fit to be there, right, the Electoral College, again, I mean, I feel like you and I could have a whole discussion on the Electoral College and how flawed that is.
Yep.
But the fact of the matter is that we were always waiting for something to go wrong, right?
Mhm.
Oh, like, there was the whole sexual assault scandal.
Yeah.
He's going to get taken out. You know, there was the whole
Yeah.
Kavanaugh
Yeah,
scandal.
yes.
We thought that would go out. Michael Cohen went to trial. We thought,
Just
oh, he's going to get
waiting
taken
and
out. We've
waiting
been
for him to get
waiting.
impeached and,
We've
like,
been
out there,
he got
yeah.
impeached. We were like, okay, this is the end. We keep waiting for this is the end. This is the end. Bro, just vote and we'll be at the end.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, if there are enough people that want him out, He's going to have to pack his bags and going to have to walk out the White House.
And remember at the I don't know, like if you guys saw the debate, how at the end they were kind of, the last question was like,
would you peacefully leave?
Would you peacefully leave? And obviously Biden's like, people's votes, like, you know, if I win, I win.
Like he
if I
commented on that.
yeah, and Trump's like, no,
I'm
that's
not
flawed.
leaving.
The in-mail ballot, whatever, it's like it's gonna be flawed, and it's a whole scam, and it's not like,
And
he's just absolute denial
He
that
literally
like
just said he's not
he's
going
either
anywhere.
gonna he's either gonna win to win, or if he loses, then it's gonna be flawed. Like, and it's sad that even if we do get Biden to win, I can't, like, I still have a fear. I have a fear that some way he's just gonna make his way back and cause this huge scandal where he's actually gonna be able to get us to be like, us to say like, okay, the whole voting thing was a scam. So much has happened, guys. Like, so much has happened that we didn't even believe that could happen. At this point, I'm like, okay, what if Biden wins? But then what if Trump does something, and then we're all gonna be in,
it's
like,
very possible.
You know what the big
it's so
thing
much
is?
anxiety, like,
you know what the big thing is though, and I don't know if people are paying enough attention to it. The defunding of USPS and how we're pulling out mailboxes and making it hard to vote during Corona. Like, think about it. Your current president wants you to vote in the middle of a pandemic in person because he knows if people mail in their ballots, he'll most likely lose. But you know who are the people that are going to go during a pandemic to go vote?
Trump supporters.
Like his supporters are, you know? And this isn't a shot. If you're a Republican, this is not a shot at being a Republican. If you're a Democrat, it's not a shot at being a Democrat, right? Vote red, vote blue, you know, vote for the donkey, the elephant, whatever you want. But the end of the day is, it's a moral dilemma now. It's not just, you know, you can agree. Political. Yeah, you can agree with the business benefits that Trump brings, right? Lowering all these, like the tax cuts and job act, right? Like being a tax account, like I understand why you could see like, oh, that's great, it stimulates the economy. It doesn't. Popular just myth, contradiction. But I'm not paid to give tax advice on this pod, so it's not worth it. But I think the thing is, you got to realize, man, the guy you're putting up with, and that we're not voting. Like, you know, he said he's going to release tax returns, lied about it, hasn't done it. New York Times releases it. No, that's fake news. He said he was going to come out with a healthcare plan to replace Obamacare.
Didn't do it.
Hasn't happened. He's going to build the wall against Mexico that riled up all his Trump supporters. I don't see no wall in Mexico, bro. It hasn't happened, right? So there's a lot of
empty promises.
There's a lot of empty promises that people are getting hyped up about, and then, you know,
he's not even delivering on those. Like, that's what I'm just.
But
like,
it's so depressing. It's depressing because we have control of our fate, and we're doing nothing about it, and we're dropping the ball. And you know, we on the Breonna Taylor episode, we said, "What now, bro? This is the what now? Vote, make some change, do something about it." You know, and I know again, right? We're in Illinois. It's primarily a blue state. Share it, bro. There's so many people in so many different countries that you can't even imagine, right? We think about it, we're like, damn, I can't imagine being a Trump supporter. Reality is, he's got some parts that are good, some parts that are flawed. But the fact of the matter is they exist. But we don't do a good job at educating, like, and voicing our opinions. We're just so butthurt. And I think that's another flaw of the red and blue system, you know? If you're red, you're going to vote red. If you're blue, you're going to vote blue, and you don't change your mind.
I want to say something about voting. So in 2016, when we had our last election, a lot of people I knew didn't vote, right? So, okay, you don't vote, whatever. You have no right then to complain. You have no right to complain about anything that has to do with any of this because you weren't able to put yourself out there as a responsible voter and vote to make that change, to contribute to that change. So if you don't vote, you have don't come to me or don't talk in like our group chats and start complaining about this and that when you haven't voted. When you don't vote, you have no right to complain. And that's why I'm saying this now. All of these people, you know, we talk to our friends, family, they're like, yeah, Trump sucks, or this person, this person sucks, and I'm trying now.
We know what you
this
meant.
person sucks, whatever, you know, I can't believe this, can't believe that. Those same people, I hope I see you voting, or whether you do it in person, through the mail. You need to vote because all this complaining you do, it's going to mean nothing if you don't make an effort to vote.
A lot of our Desi community does not vote.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and okay, Dr. King said to be silent is to take the side of the oppressor. And when you don't vote, you are staying silent. And when you stay silent, you are taking the side of the oppressor.
Exactly.
And, you know, just us as a Muslim community, we have a moral obligation and like a human obligation to do our part.
I just hate hearing that, like, oh, my, like, one vote won't make a difference. Like, if I don't vote, like, it's fine. Like, there are other people that vote
But
on
then
my
what do you have
behalf
to
and all that.
lose?
Exactly.
Right.
I'm just like, you
That
know,
one
vote
person
makes
turns
such a
into
big
10
difference.
people. That
Yeah.
10 people
That
turn
one-
into 100 people. 100 people turn into thousands of people. If everyone keeps saying this down the line, this is how
That last
That's how
election
2016
literally
40%,
says it all.
40%
It
of us
proves everything,
didn't
yeah.
vote. 40% of people who could vote
That's a
didn't vote.
lot. This is a big country.
It's a
guys.
lot.
Yeah.
It's a
Almost
lot
half.
of people.
That's a
it's
lot
of
people.
The big thing though is, and I don't want, if you're watching this, I don't want you to feel like, damn, like I have to vote by. No, it's not true. And this might be an unpopular opinion among you guys, but honestly, if those 40% also voted and they still voted Trump, you know, I would, one, I think it'd be a great reflection of this country, but two, I'd be like, you have to sit with it, you have to live with it, right? But the fact of the matter is that 40% could have hugely swayed an election that wasn't that far off to begin with,
Yeah.
right? In terms of popular vote, is very close. So if you
Yeah.
vote, you know, if you want to vote for Trump, feel free to vote for Trump, but you don't got to be a closeted Trump supporter.
But
I
just
think that's
don't
one big
vote.
thing
Like,
too.
just don't not vote, I mean.
Yeah, I think voting is big. If you're gonna, especially for the people that are watching our podcast, like the demographic is the age where you're at a point now in your life that you can make a difference. And even if it is your one vote, right? Like Reddit has been running a great campaign ad about, not campaign ad, but just like marketing campaign about the presidential election and just Congress and seats like that in general. And there's one in downtown Chicago. It's kind of funny because they replaced it already. But the first one was, I think it was a picture of something, and it had 12.6 thousand like upvotes. And the ad said like this picture got more votes than it needed to decide an Illinois state Senate seat.
Yikes.
That picture, like that post, then went
That says so
viral on
much.
Reddit.
That says so much.
Yeah, that post went viral on Reddit to the point where Reddit replaced that original picture with the new post that went viral, and it was like, yeah, well, this could have decided something else. You know, so that's the reality of it. We're so consumed in day-to-day media. Your vote will always matter. Even if it's one vote, your one vote trickles down so much further
Yeah.
than you think. And the reality is, like we've talked about in so many episodes, right? Whether it be census, whether it be this, the next 4 years or so make or break. Everyone says 2016 was the most important election for our lifetime. Very factual. 2020 is the second most important, and if you're just gonna sit around and do nothing about it, just think about all the stuff we've seen in the last 2 months, right? Between Minnesota, Portland, like we've seen a lot of stuff go on and go wrong. I can't imagine sitting back in 2010, 2012, you know, even if I was a woke 12-year-old, I wouldn't have been like, this is what's going to happen. Because
Yeah.
it's not reality. You know, you go from America being this superpower, well-respected, to honestly, like, we're embarrassed. Like, there's countries that don't let us in because of this pandemic. Pandemic response is a whole nother issue in its own, right?
Yes.
There's a lot going on. I think it's very telling, though, even in the debate. I think there was a section that was about tax rates, and Biden was like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna raise them back up, and Trump was like something about I think he gave himself, first he said like, why did you do it, and then he gives himself credit for lowering it.
Yeah.
And like it's just a lot of the stuff that comes out of his mouth. Not granted, Joe Biden is not perfect.
Yeah.
They were both, like we said, it's just lesser of two evils. They're both sitting there fighting like children, which was so interesting.
I think one. No. I think one. I think
I think
one.
they were fighting like
One's a
children.
little 15 and one's a little 10.
Yeah.
I guess
but then
there's a difference, but overall children.
I
Yeah,
feel
for
like
sure.
Biden didn't start getting petty
Until
until
Trump.
Until his
after
I mean,
Trump
yeah,
started
if you
brought
look
his
at
kids
it-
into the
Of course.
conversation.
The
No, I
first
get it,
the
of
first
course.
30 minutes he was fine, you know, like Trump was still talking over him. Blah, blah,
I thought he
blah.
started pretty shaky, to be
And
honest.
Who did?
I thought Biden started a little
No,
shaky. Those
I
answers
didn't-
got
Yeah,
better.
but like he wasn't attacking him and
Sure,
calling
yeah.
him a clown and stuff right
Oh,
off the bat.
Oh,
but
so
then,
it was
He
a
told him to shut
presidential
up, though.
debate and not a comedy skit.
Exactly.
The back end of
Yeah.
that was a comedy
Yeah.
skit.
yeah.
Like, that's something you see on SNL, bro. That is not what you
No.
see on a presidential
And then
debate.
Poor
what was
moderator.
the moderator's name?
Oh my god,
Chris
yeah,
something.
He was,
I
Poor
felt so
guy.
he was
bad.
the guys. I'm the moderator.
It was Chris something, whatever
Chris
his name
Wall
was. Chris
something?
Wallace.
Chris Wallace.
And I felt so bad for him because
felt
it was just, it
terrible.
was like
Shout out
he
to him
was.
for keeping us cool, though, man.
Shout out, yes, because.
I would have
felt
lost it.
And the
terrible
thing
for
about it
him.
is that he's a Fox News reporter, but he
Yeah.
doesn't have his head really far up his butt. So he like, you know, you can tell that he's not biased. And when
Yeah.
he talks to President Trump,
Yeah, he
it's
did
not.
that.
Yeah,
It was pretty
he
fair.
doesn't. It's not like always in his favor. Or
I just
whatever,
wish
and so it's
he
like-
there was a point where I think literally like the last 30 minutes he was like, these are the rules. This is what your team signed. This is what your team signed. You need to follow what your team signed. And I'm like, I wish you just said that like
Did you
literally
guys-
30 minutes in. Like,
Did you guys see his tweets after?
no.
I didn't
Oh,
know
man. So he said after, I don't know if you guys saw, but like the debate committee was like, we're gonna have to change it up. Obviously, like you got to mute the mics first off, right? You got to mute the mics so people can speak over
That's
each
what they
other.
do with the Oscars. If your time is up,
If your time's up,
the
your
mic
time's up.
is
The mic's
off.
cut.
I'm
And
shocked they didn't do that.
dude, well, Trump
It's kinda
tweeted,
like
he's
common
like,
I don't know what
sense.
that
I
was.
thought
Yeah.
they would pull an
Sean
Oscar.
Tweedy goes, I won that first debate big.
Oh
Why
my
would I let
God.
the debate committee change the rules to a debate that I
Oh
won?
my
I was like,
God.
bro,
No one
First
won.
of all,
who
all
counted
lost.
wins? Like, we all, America as a
We
whole lost, bro.
lost.
Like, you lost, I lost, she lost, you lost. Like, we
Everybody
all
lost.
lost.
Everybody lost.
We all took a
Everybody
giant L,
lost.
bro.
Yeah.
The amount of memes, the amount of videos.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's
No,
Other
it's for
people
sure.
from like other
Bro,
countries.
we went from the
were
land of
like,
opportunities
Yeah.
to straight, to
All
straight
over
shit.
Twitter, everyone's
the
laughing at us.
searches to like move to Canada and the Swits, everything just like started
Bro,
like
everywhere but here.
yeah, everywhere
that's the
but
thing,
here.
right?
Everyone's
Everywhere
trying to
but
get
here.
out of here.
So you got to imagine, how do we go from being the place where everybody wants to go, we need to figure out immigration reform, to the place where people are like, yo, let me go to Canada.
I
let
said
me
this
leave.
tweet. It
Like,
was
come
like,
on.
It was like, my parents came to America for a better life. I'm trying to leave America for a better life.
Yeah.
That's
Isn't that
sad.
so
Full
sad?
circle.
It's reality, though, man. Think about what you've gone through. And the fact, it does, obviously, to an extent, it baffles me that people want 4 more years of this. It doesn't shock me, but it baffles me. But I think the fact of the matter is, it's tough because you have to sit through it. And it's going to impact you, and it's going to impact you for a very long time. The repercussions that we're going to feel from 2016 to 2020 will be felt for a very long time,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
even
yeah.
if Biden inherits this, I think you'll still
We'll still remember
see
trickle
repercussions
down,
in
yeah.
the long run.
Yeah, no, this is
So just imagine another 4
Yeah,
years
I
of
know.
what we
But
just had.
progressively will get worse regardless. You know, just control how much worse it'll get. Is basically what.
Do you guys
Yeah.
remember? This is kind of well, not really off topic, but do you guys remember the first day after the president was announced 4 years ago when
Yes.
Trump was announced?
Yes.
Do you guys? Am I the only one? I remember walking in. I was at Oakton. And I remember just walking in, and it was the scariest thing of my life. Like
I know. Yeah, the next day at school, everyone's just like
was so dead.
dead
I
and
felt like
silent. Everyone was
so
silent. I know the
silent.
silence.
I felt so scared. I remember.
There was a fear. There was a great fear.
I remember being scared
It's
for
just
my
tense.
mom.
It was
I
like lurking
remember
through the halls. Like, it just felt like, oh my god, like
so tense.
what's going on? You know.
And then
Yeah.
so much happened just like 6 months into him being in office. Just imagine another 4 years
Yeah.
like
And
that.
I don't want to make this like a Trump hate podcast, right? Like you
Oops,
can,
sorry.
you
I'm
can for sure
sorry, not
appreciate
sorry.
whatever he does that you feel is well done. You know, 'cause
Yeah.
some people do feel like he's done a lot. Some people feel like he hasn't done enough. What I want to mention though, and I think is so telling of the situation, last night, right? Reports came out that him and his wife had corona, and the first thing was, damn, what if it's a lie?
It could.
You know how crazy it
Definitely
is that
be.
you go from, yo, the president of the United States has corona to, yo,
Right
what
away
if he's
thinking
lying?
It's a
Yeah.
lie. It could be a tactic.
I think yeah, well, of course it could, because you could be saying,
Yeah.
oh, you have corona, and then, 10 days later, he's like, I'm perfectly healthy, there's no issues. And then it could be, yo, I want to reopen the economy. Well, of course you want to reopen the economy. Like, you have all these debts to repay. We saw it. The New York Times articles came out. Your hotels are sucking. They're flaunts, So we know that there's personal gain for a lot of things he does, and that's the reality of it, right? But that's who you're voting for. You're voting for the person that wants to put you out there into a middle pandemic, wants to reopen schools so your little kids go back to a middle pandemic, and you can't even be bothered to vote. That sucks. That's telling me about the country. That tells me about the characteristics of the people that vote. It affirms every negative thought you have about America, right? Land of the, like, what is it? Land of the free, home of the brave. Nah, bro, that's not
Where?
true right now. Where's it at?
Not at all.
And this
Complete
isn't, again, this
opposite.
isn't a bash America. This isn't a bash Trump. This is pent-up aggression from the last 4 years that is slowly being released. And I think it's on all of us. You got to vote. I mean, it's not, first off, it comes around once every 4 years.
There's no
Get
excuse
your mail-in
anymore.
ballot.
It's really
Do
just
it.
not hard to vote. I just don't.
There's no
that's the
excuse
reality.
anymore.
Even if you
It's not
don't have
hard.
a mail-in ballot, going to your polling place is only going to take like half an hour. I think that's the longest I've ever been at a polling place.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, we are all speaking from a place of privilege where we have that option to either mail in our ballot or go to a polling place, because
Some people don't.
there's a lot of voter suppression happening, and it's bothering me because the last time this happened was, during the civil rights movement, before Black people actually got the right to vote. Is like, the government was actively trying to stop Black people from
On the-
voting. And like you see that happening again. Like there's a county in
Yeah.
Texas where they have a singular polling place.
Shout out Ted
for the-
Cruz for being a dumbass.
Oh.
Let's not even. But it's just like the obvious like voter suppression, and then Trump constantly trying to like shake people's faith in the system, which despite it, what is it called, like the principles of the system being flawed, the system itself is like perfectly functional. So it's like
it's passable.
Yeah, exactly. It's passable, and like just it's.
I mean, while you bring up race, can we please talk about the highlight of the night? Because I think that was the first thing when this debate was over, right? Outside of everyone like live tweeting it, the first thing that everyone reacted to was stand down and stand by. So what do y'all think? How do y'all feel?
Okay.
JK, folks, this is definitely a vote pod. This is a voting podcast. It's definitely a reaction to the debate. It kind of changed up, but.
Yeah, JK. Well, we still want you to go vote, but this is also like everybody's feelings from post debate. Okay, I have a lot of feelings, especially just as a Black American, but
if you want to formulate your thoughts, I
don't even. It's because I have so many thoughts. But in case anybody needs a refresher, or if you've been able to stay far away from the debate until now, Chris Wallace asked Trump straight up, will you right here, right now, tonight, denounce white supremacy and white supremacists and tell them to stop the violence or adding to the violence that's already happening in the country? Trump said, first he said yes.
I thought he questioned it, right? He questioned like what groups we're
talking
about.
And then, he was like,
what do you want me to call out?
Yeah, who do you want me to call out? Yeah. He was like, be specific or whatever. And then Joe Biden said, the Proud Boys. And Trump said, Proud Boys, stand back, stand by. And it blew my mind for so many reasons, but just for me and like what me and my family took away from it was that Trump knows that he has these hate groups at his disposal. He knows that they are at his command, and that is terrifying. Okay, like you no. And then, you know, after that happened, I had family come over, a couple, that was yesterday, and my aunt was like, so what's everybody doing after the election? And she was telling us to get weapons. She was telling us that the family should probably stay together, because whether Trump wins or loses, especially if he loses, though, there's going to be either intimidation tactics happening
because
before,
they were condemned or anything.
During and before voting, or if he loses, they're just going to take to the streets and start hurting or killing people. And so my aunt wants us all to be like either in the city or like on the South Side where it's more African Americans, because we just don't know how safe it's going to be for us. And that's my reality. And it just Trump didn't even have the common sense to not show like his cards and show like where his loyalties lies.
That was his
low point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like,
granted, it's a new low.
Even, and this is why.
Yeah, some people were surprised. Some people were like, "Are you really?" But I think the initial right away when it happened, I think that was a time where everyone's mouths just dropped.
Yeah, it was
like we were like
very like.
I was like, "This is your time. This is your time to say,
like,
yeah, you don't, you do denounce it." And he literally just
at least
beat around the bush.
Even like in front of like millions of people, like he didn't denounce it or anything.
I think I'm really sorry that you feel that.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm sorry.
Like that's tough. That's a reality that I couldn't imagine living. One, two. I think the big thing that I took away from it is like, one, you kind of gave him like that pat on the back, like, yeah, for sure, like I got you guys. Two, I think the big thing that can be taken away from that is when you use the words stand down, stand by, even just to use the words stand by, it kind of puts it in as an intimidation tactic, right? Because now you're gonna be at like a polling place, and you're not gonna feel comfortable with someone watching you, and you got somebody on the sidelines just waiting on you.
Yeah.
That's scary. You're making it harder for people to vote. That's the reality that you're living in, you know.
Damn, I gotta vote alone. So
Yeah,
I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do. I'm just.
You gotta be smart. That's the one thing for whoever is voting. You gotta definitely just be aware of what your surroundings are. You know, it's a tense environment right now. It's a product of our own making for sure, but we have a chance to correct it. And I hope everyone does take advantage of correcting it. I hope we all take the necessary steps that we need to make sure that we can have maybe not the best 4 years, right? Like we're not going to Disney World, but hopefully we can just live in a better America. We don't got to make America great again. We got to make America better again.
Yeah.
We're gonna make America livable, because right now it doesn't feel very livable.
Yeah.
Like my family is literally talking about the way that they were discussing it with me and my family is it felt like we were preparing for like in case somebody drops a bomb on the country.
Yeah.
It was like in case somebody is preparing to like attack you. And that's kind of what I have to, and I had to sit with that
fear,
and that like just that gross feeling in my chest that I don't know what's gonna happen. And like with my family, it's really uncertain, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
I think all those uncertainties are just manifesting now, right? We're getting really close to the point where we gotta start voting. Results are gonna come out. I think it's gonna be a tense couple months.
Yeah.
But hopefully, like all together, we can definitely get through it. It's gonna take an effort, and it can't be one of those elections where it's really close. It's got to be a landslide for things to even get going. But if you made it this far, thank you for listening to our political rant of the probably month. Takeaways: go vote. Make sure you vote. Make sure you get out there, because we're the only people that can make change at the end of the day. And if you're seeing this, we understand that you might be a Democrat or Republican, but make sure you share it, right? Let's make sure that everyone can see it, because we got to highlight the injustices that are happening to people that look like us and people of color, and even to just other people in general, whether you be Caucasian or not. It's a moral dilemma at this point. It's not a political dilemma.
Just one more thing. Millennials and Gen Zs outnumber boomers and Gen X. They do now over the age of 18. So if we all actually like get up and vote, we can actually like do something and make a change. So
Yeah.
Good point.
Go for it,
That
guys.
said, thank y'all for listening. We'll see you next time.